Funky.
Hello, this is Yolanda Murphy, and welcome to this Exceptional Journey podcast, where you will find inspiration to live courageously through adversity, empowerment to live freely despite your past, and ignition to live boldly in your purpose, all by walking the survivor side of life. Good people. What is going on? It is your girl, Yolanda Murphy, back with another episode of this Exceptional Journey podcast. How have you been? Thank you so much, of course, as always, for clicking over to my little corner of the podcast world and rocking with me for a little bit. If this is your first time, hello. Welcome. And if this is not your first time, welcome back. How was your week? How was your Thanksgiving? Oh my goodness. But thank you so much, guys, for listening. Of course, let me plug real quick my social media. You can find me at Facebook and at Instagram at This Exceptional Journey. Not too difficult. But you can also find me on Twitter at TEJ Podcast. Hit me up. Hashtag me TEJ Podcast if you need to. Inbox me, question, comments, suggestions. Let me know. I'm always down for it. So, really quick, let me know what you guys think. I have this podcast, of course. I also have a blog. I don't know if I've ever brought that up. Thisexceptionaljourney.com. I started in January of this year. And I had been doing really well up until the summer, which is when I started like researching and like really like divulging into podcasting and learning, all of the great things that comes along with it. So unfortunately, my blog kind of took a back burner so that I can get this vision to fruition. But guys, let me know what you think. Or do you know people who still blog? Like, do people still read and not listen with earbuds? Like, how does that work? I mean, I love, as you can tell, as I always say, I'm chatty Cathy. So speaking is not a problem for me. However, I know sometimes just listening is not everyone's medium, which brings up another thing, as you've probably heard me say before. In sync with as I'm recording the podcast, I also video record. And again, This Exceptional Journey on YouTube. But I didn't know, how you guys felt about it. So I never brought it up. But if you've paid attention here and there and everywhere, to any of the podcasts, I mention it every once in a while, and a few people have inboxed me like, okay, where are the videos? And I even have some friends, who say I don't listen to podcasts, but I'm on YouTube like every day. So let me know what you guys think. I do have videos ready to upload. Because like I said, I have recorded, every time I've recorded an episode, I've also recorded a video. This one will be a little different though, because this one was really not last minute, but I wanted to get it out before I lost my train of thought, and I didn't feel like going through the whole setup that I usually do to video record. So you guys are lucky. But let me know, guys. I mean, if you think the blog would still be beneficial, I think so. Again, only because there are some people who don't podcast but blog or read blogs. And then, just like I said, there are people that don't actually listen to podcasts, but they watch YouTube. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hit me up, and let me know there. So let's go ahead and jump right in. As you can tell from the title, I wanted to briefly discuss my month of November and what I am thankful for. So if you've been listening to the last couple podcasts, you already know October, it was kind of like a roller coaster for me. I did some amazing things, met some amazing people. I spoke, I went to events, I traveled. It was a great time. But then towards the end, there were some deaths unexpectedly. And that kind of was a low for me. And then here we are now at the end of November, and I'm kind of at a good place again. I took some time off, as I've previously stated, to get my whole mental and mind space together, to grieve appropriately, although, that's an ongoing process, but to be in a good, clear headspace to be able to do this effectively. So here we are, end of November, and I wanted to discuss what in the world, if nothing else, these last 2 months have taught me, let alone the whole entire year. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and get jumped in. I'm sorry, let's go ahead and jump right in. The first thing that immediately, came to mind when I wanted to discuss what I'm thankful for is my tribe, of course. Hello. I mean, I really could not have selected, if I tried, better people to be in my life, in this season of my life. And if you're listening, you understand, that our lives go in seasons, just like grieving is a season. Like we don't, I mean, we always grieve someone who passes away, but there's a season, where you grieve like instantaneously, or when you think about them, you cry like horrifically. But there's a season, maybe a year later, if need be, that you think about them and you smile. That's a new season. So this season where I am, of course, being a 2-year breast cancer survivor, almost three, hello. I've met, as I've said, some like phenomenal people. Like I can't even begin to tell you. But throughout this whole entire almost 3-year journey, people have been added and even taken away, from what I call my tribe. Of course, a people, a community, that rallies around, kind of the same thoughts or ideals or the same focuses. And I'm grateful. I am so grateful. I can't tell you how many people, or how many specifically, young women I have met throughout this journey, going to different conferences and going to different trainings. It's been phenomenal. And then, of course, my family and my friends. I mean, hello, that goes without saying. I could not describe them any better than loyal. And we all know, don't get me wrong, there's always a new normal that comes along with any diagnosis, cancer or otherwise. There's always a new normal to live your life. And on this side of my life, in this new normal, are there people here, as we probably all know if you're a survivor, are there people here, that you would never think would be here? Absolutely. Are there people not here that you thought wouldn't be here? Of course. So either way it goes, these phenomenal men and women that are in my corner, that have my back, I am grateful for you, because every day that I wake up, I feel stronger. I feel more confident. I feel better being a survivor with you than without you. And I couldn't have done it without you. So if you're listening, you know who you are. Thank you for being a pillar, for being strength, and for being love in my dark places. So thank you for that. Next is my faith. I've previously said I'm a woman of faith. I trust and believe in God wholeheartedly. Um, Without my faith, I would not be here. I've grown up a church baby. I've always been in church, always sang and mimed and ushered, and all of these good things, kids learn how to do in the African American church. We learn how to do everything at a very young age. Um, but I honestly believe that without my faith and without God, I would not be here. Um, and I'm grateful for not only that realization, but for the reality of it as well. There's probably some of you out there that, may or may not agree. And listen, we're all entitled to our own opinions. We're all different for a reason. I can only speak for me and my journey and where I am, in regards to it. But, I would go to doctor's appointments, and, I would be going through chemo or going through radiation. And some of the nurses or some of the doctors would just laugh. Like, you're so bubbly. Like, did you have cancer? Like, not, of course, being serious, but Like they would be astounded how upbeat I was. But here's the kicker. I knew from the very beginning when I was diagnosed that I was going to be okay because I had faith and trust in God, flat out. Anyone that is close to me will tell you. I told some of them, I told some of them in groups of like two or three, just so I didn't have to, keep repeating the story of diagnosis and what's next and, all of those intricacies. But I told some of them, I said, okay, now listen, if I'm not crying, you cannot cry. I said, you can go home and cry. And now that I think about it, that was probably so selfish. But I was allowed. I was the one who was diagnosed, right? But, I would even say, I'm going to be okay. And they would be like, okay. And what they chose to do at home, I have no idea. But not one person that I can remember at least I spoke to and told them about my diagnosis or the road I was about to travel. None of them shed a tear in front of me. None of them broke down. They were all stunned, of course, just as I was, but my faith kept me. My faith kept me strong. Every doctor's appointment, whether it was chemo or radiation through surgery. Now, don't get me wrong. Please don't get it twisted. There were dark days. There were days I would be in my shower as my hair was just falling out in clumps. There would be days where I would be in the shower and my skin would just be going down the drain after radiation. Sorry if that's too graphic, but that's reality. There would be days where, I would just be in so much pain. Like my muscles would be so fatigued. I would just have to tell my manager, like, I just can't work today. I just can't. So yeah, there were dark days. There were dark times. I can run the list. I can run the gamut. But what kept me strong, if nothing else than mentally, was knowing God promised that I was going to make it out. And if nothing else, in this season, I am grateful for that because it's still keeping me. It is still yet present in my life. I'm still every day grateful to be alive. I'm still grateful. If you've listened to previous podcasts, I've been doing things I've never done. I'm reaching out and connecting with people I would have never known if I stayed in this comfort zone. So and the second thing I would definitely have to say I'm grateful for, after my peeps, is my faith. Faith in God, faith in knowing that He has me in the good, in the bad, ups and downs. I know I'm going to be okay because He's right by me, flat out. Definitely grateful for that in this season. And then lastly, I'm grateful for you. If you are listening to the sound of my voice right now, I am grateful for you. Because here's the kicker. I didn't know, and I still don't know, to be honest. I still don't know where this podcast journey is taking me. Like I said, I started my blog in January of this year, and it was all based on the premise of wanting there to be a African American young woman in the space speaking about being a survivor because I couldn't find it. Like I knew people, in passing of conferences or being, part of groups on Facebook or Instagram. I knew of people, but I didn't know of anyone that was speaking in the space of survivorship and thriving. I did not see that with people that look like me, if that makes sense. So I wanted to create a platform that did just that. This, of course, exceptional journey. But then, and I was doing well, I want to say maybe June of this year, maybe June, July of this year. I clearly, heard God say to me, okay, I need people now to hear you. Like, you got your voice out there, you're reaching some people, that's great, but your voice, how you speak, your tone, your intonation, like that is what is going to get you further. And I said, "Oh, okay. How do I how do I do that, God?" And then this whole thought process of a podcast came about. And, I told a very select group of people, and I was like, what do you think? Like, do you think I could do it? Do you think it would be a good idea, based upon what I want to do? I mean, of course, as with any vision, it's ever changing, it's ever evolving, it's ever unfolding. So where I am now, 5 years from now, I pray I'm not in the same space. But I just wanted to be able to have people hear me, because it's great to read empowerment. It's great to read words of inspiration, but it makes the world of difference when you hear it. And that was what I wanted to create this podcast for. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that if you've listened to the seventh episode of this exceptional journey, I am grateful that, again, you've clicked over, whether it's through Apple, Google, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, wherever you have found me. I am grateful that you're listening. I am grateful that you took the time to find me, and that you wanted to connect with me, because this journey is not for the faint of heart. I will tell you that. It took me, and this is not a gripe session, don't get me wrong, because I am still excited every day to record a podcast. Like when my friends ask me, like my cousin asked me tonight, "Oh girl, you want to go out? We have a friend that's in from out of town, and she was like, he wants to go out and whatever." And I was like, "Oh no, sorry, I have to record a podcast." Just flat out. There was no, I was like, "Oh, what time?" "Oh no, I have to record my podcast." And I'm excited every time I click record. Every single time I click record, I get to connect with you all in a way that I was never able to before. So again, the last thing I wanted to let you guys know I'm grateful for is you. And please hit me up again, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, my actual website, thisexceptionaljourney.com. Let me know what you think. If you think there are things I can change, if you think there are things that I can improve on, if you think where I am right now is a great space to be podcasting for the last 2 months, let me know. I'm here for you guys, because this is to help inspire, empower, and then ignite you to live your best life. Guys, that's it. That's really all I have. I didn't want this one to be long, but I definitely wanted to let you know, in this season of Thanksgiving, despite what the end of my last month looked like and the beginning of this month looked like, I'm always grateful. Did I have some dark days? Absolutely. Did I have some times where I felt like I just didn't want to move forward? Absolutely. I can't tell you, after the death, after death, after death, I was like, "God, really? Like, okay, I'm going to be done. Like, what's the point?" But I, pulled up my bootstraps and said, "No, there are some people out there that are waiting to hear my voice, that need empowerment, that need inspiration, that need to be ignited to live after either a diagnosis or after, something serious that happens in their life. People need this." So I so, so, so am grateful and thankful for you. If you think this podcast can help someone else, spread the word. I'm just getting started. I literally am just getting started. I have so many ideas and visions for things that I want to accomplish. Am I learning along the way? Absolutely. But I'm so grateful again for you guys rocking with me and seeing me through the test of time. So that's it for me, guys. Again, this is your girl, Yolanda. Again, thanks for clicking on over and rocking with me for a little bit. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.